We bought the Taproot filly out of Tisn't She Beautiful and will be trained by Todd Pletcher. Extremely athletic, a lot like him. We're excited to see him on the track.
Beautiful filly. She's out of a graded stakes mare that ran early as a 2-year-old, so I like that quite a bit out of her. This filly looks like she's going to be super early and precocious. Very good muscled filly, just a lot to like about her.
Taproot, standing at Gainesway.
Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Kentucky Derby Prep Recap presented by Gainesway. We're going to take a peek back at the Wood Memorial at 1 1/8 at Aqueduct. And Mike, as they break from the gate, the entire complexion of the race changes when Gotham winner and race favorite, the number 5 Morello, misses the start.
Yeah, he hit the gate at the start of this race and winds up last. And you're right, it does change things a little bit, Dan. This race felt like it had sort of 3 main protagonists. He was one of them as the favorite. And once you get off to the poor start, Dan, he just never picked up his feet and never factored.
He'll end up wide on the backstretch, but he does not do much running. Early voting does. He was undefeated coming into this race. He got to the front where he was expected to be, and he set a comfortable pace while Mo Donegal is relaxing at the back of the pack. Not a great start for Mo Donegal, but certainly a great ride.
Yeah, he got forced in a little bit at the start by Golden Code. It was in the 2-path. So, Joel Rosario just rated him. They were going to take him back off the pace anyway, Dan, I'm sure. That's where he wound up. He just gets to save a lot of ground, and he gets a clean run into this race. But boy, does he travel strongly throughout the running here. And early voting, what can you say? It was just his 3rd career start. He ran well in here. He did have control of this pace, and he's still there in deep stretch, Dan. But he had a very nice trip in this race.
Early voting, it was a comfortable pace. 47-3. He's going to try to put some separation between himself and the rest of this field with a sharp 3rd quarter clocking. You saw Rosario take Mo Donegal around a tiring horse, goes right back to the inside to save ground. He knows he wants to follow early voting because early voting is going to carry him into the stretch. He follows that horse's cover.
Yeah, just at this point, it's just a question of whether he's going to get stopped here. And he almost does, Dan. Right at this point, he's in a little bit tight, that horse, the long shot 7 there. If he had a more horse, he could have kept Mo Donegal in, but he just didn't have enough horse to do it. Mo Donegal has plenty of room here through the final 1/8 of a mile, and he comes with a big finish here. This is a horse who's done this basically in all of his starts, Dan. He really levels off and lengthens his stride late, and he was along in plenty of time here. A really comfortable win.
He really was flying at the end of this race. Distance is what he wants, and getting away from Gulfstream Park, Mike, I think was what he wanted as well. I just don't think that racetrack played to his strengths when he was the beaten favorite in his seasonal debut.
I agree with that. And even in that race, though, Dan, he found his stride. It was very late in the Holy Bull, but he did find his stride late, and he was really running at the end of that race. But I'm with you. I think that was just sort of wrong race and wrong racetrack for Mo Donegal in his 3-year-old debut. They had a plan to come up here for this race where he had already won over course and distance, and he was really good again on Saturday. This is a nice horse.
We'll get to Mo Donegal in a little bit. Let's talk about early voting. Nice ride by Jose Ortiz. Back down the fractions. The horse seemed to relax on the backstretch. He kicked on for home at the 5/16 pole. He had a clear lead at the 3/16. Did he just get beat by a better horse? Did he fail to stay? Was it a lack of experience? He ran well.
Yeah, he did run well. Again, it was just his 3rd career start. I thought all in all, it was a good performance for this horse. Did he have any excuse, not to take this field all the way? No. You mentioned that he was clear at the 5/16. He was clear at the 3/16. He was clear at the 8th pole. And he was still on the lead at the 16th pole, Dan, but he just got run down. I feel like, when I went back and watched it again a second time, I want to give most of the credit here to Mo Donegal, who just came with a really big finish and gunned him down. I did think early voting got a little bit late there, very, very deep in the stretch, and just couldn't quite hold on. I still think he ran a fine race here, though.
As for his Kentucky Derby prospects, if Chad decides to run in that race, he will be one of the speeds. The problem is there seems to be other speeds in the Derby, and he would have to go 1 1/4 with quality closers such as Mo Donegal and others gunning for them late.
Yeah, I mean, early voting, it would be a pretty big ask for him to go into the Derby. I feel like in just his 4th start, I'm not totally convinced he doesn't deserve the chance. That I think he does have a lot of talent. And I just sort of wonder if this is going to be his running style, going forward. I understand that his Withers, when he wired that grade 3 race back in February, that he went a really fast pace that day. He seems a little bit handier than that to me, though, Dan. He was very comfortable on a very, sort of rated pace here. His career debut, he sat off another horse and he looked just fine doing it. I don't feel like they have to be super aggressive with him going forward.
Does Morello deserve a mulligan simply because he was off so awfully? I think that a lot of folks thought he would be sitting second or third in the early portion of this race, in a good position to go after early voting when that one sprinted for home on the second term. Of course, they had to go to plan B once the start was bad. He was wide on the backstretch, but as you mentioned, he didn't do any running. Is it simple to just draw a line through this race, or was he in a way a bit exposed?
I feel like it comes down to whether or not he exits this race with some kind of an excuse, as far as like his health is concerned. And if he, sort of injured himself and just really after that fact, when he hit the gate at the start, if that sort of threw him off his game and maybe he just couldn't run after that, because at the end of the day, it's fine for him to get off to a poor start in this race and then wind up finishing sixth in the race. If at some point in the race you feel like he did anything. I mean, this horse never picked up his feet in this race. And so you sort of feel like it had to be more than just him not wanting to go 9 furlongs. I can't believe that would be his excuse here. I wonder if, he'll need a little time after the start and maybe something happened there when he hit the gate.
Is there a chance he's Morello a miler than a true 2-turn 9 furlong classic type horse?
Yeah, of course. That's definitely something that you have to consider with him going forward. I don't see why they wouldn't give him another chance at some point in one of the big races to stretch it out one more time if he does have an excuse for this race. But now he's obviously got much more to prove. We already know how good he is going, 7 and 8 furlongs, Dan. I would give him another chance to stretch out.
A fifth finisher, Bariz, deserved an opportunity in this race based on what he had done against state-bred competition. Kind of an even performance for him, really nothing for him to be ashamed about. I think they deserve to give him an opportunity in a big race like this, and I think they found out that he's just not really a Triple Crown type.
Yeah, that's probably true. He was, basically 3 wide around the track here. He never got to save any ground in his first start around 2 turns and first start at 9 furlongs. But he was, sort of right there. He made a little bit of a run around that final turn, right when early voting was picking up the pace. He did some chasing there. I was a little disappointed he couldn't get by the long shot AP Secret for fourth in this race, Dan. It just feels like, these races are too tough for him going forward, but he's still a good horse.
Skippy Longstocking took a step forward to finish third for Safi Joseph, who, of course, is going to be preparing White Barrio for the Kentucky Derby. This is a horse that just seems like he is improving at the right time. The problem is I think he's going to need to improve drastically if he's going to win a big prize if they decide to go on to a race like the Derby.
Yeah, I agree with that. If nothing else, though, it does sort of feel like in this race and in the win down at Gulfstream before this, I think they found this horse's proper running style, Dan. And that Gulfstream race back in early March, they took him back off of a fast pace. He made a pretty strong run into it in one clear, and they did sort of the same thing here. They rated him a little bit. He's another horse who never got to save any ground. When you go back and watch that replay, he's 3-4 wide around the second turn in a drive while Mo Donegal's moving up to his inside. This horse, he didn't have a big excuse there. He was just totally outkicked in this race, but he did pretty well to get up for third.
Let's take a closer look at Mo Donegal. He is never off the board from 5 lifetime starts. He's earned over 600,000, 96 Beyer speed figure, career best for his victory in the Wood Memorial, going out, of course, for Todd Pletcher, who also campaigned the brilliant Uncle Mo. This horse has distance pedigree. He loves 1 1/8. He's won twice at that distance. Both of those races grade 2s at Aqueduct. And he just looks like a horse, Mike, that's coming into the Kentucky Derby in an under-the-radar fashion. There's going to be pace, and he's going to be a price.
Yeah, there are plenty of other names, I guess, to draw attention away from him. He's a good horse, Dan. You could see it early on in his career that more distance was going to be the key for this guy. As soon as they stretched him out, he took steps forward. I thought he took another step forward here in the Wood Memorial, a really nice effort. And he just stays all day. I guess come Derby day, it's just going to be a question of whether, his running style compromises him at all and whether he can get a clean trip into that race.
And that's really the key, because he did get a wonderful closer's trip in this race, and in the Derby with 19 others, he's going to really need to get lucky to get a similar situation, but he does close stoutly and he will stay. Let's take a look at the prices for the Wood Memorial. Mo Donegal went off the second choice in this race for Pletcher, 630 to win. Early voting, Chad Brown, third choice, also at 2 to 1 second. Skippy Longstocking was third. Favored Morello finished 6th in the Wood Memorial. Mo Donegal, son of Uncle Mo, going to Kentucky.